what be proactive means.
Not basically it's be proactive is not being like when your mom tells you you can't, you only have one.
Who wants to? Who's going to be proactive and tell me what be proactive means? Okay. What were you saying? Was that Maz? What were you saying, bud?
I was saying that being proactive means basically like when your mom tells you that's enough video games for today, that you can't be like you have to be like okay, and you don't have to be like like be pissed off.
You're muted, Miss Rachel.
You're muted, Rachel. Master Luton, we can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. I shared my screen that muted me. So that's not quite what being proactive is. That is being respectful. That is listening and following directions the first time, but that's not really being proactive. Who can tell me what it means to be proactive? Is that Harley? Were you raising? No, Jaden was raising her hand. Jaden, go ahead.
Being proactive is when you know you have to do something and you actually do it because you know that's what you have to do.
Good, good. So it's taking the initiative and doing something that you know you should do, or that it will be good to do. So like what Maz, what you were talking about, if you know that you're playing too many video games without your parents having to tell you, you're going to take the initiative and you're going to do it all on your own. Very good. Okay, so who knows what habit number 2 is? What is habit number 2? Habit number 1 is be proactive. Habit number 2, anybody?
Begin with the end in mind.
Very good. I think that was Beatrice. Good job. Begin with the end in mind is habit 2. This is a big one. We do this a lot in martial arts. This is a big focus of what we teach in setting the goal for black belt. So who can tell me, what do you guys think? Well, actually, I didn't really do the announcement. So I'm going to go ahead and do, oh, we already talked about all the stuff that's going on, actually. So, okay. Begin with the end in mind. Who can tell me what that means? What does that mean to you? What do you think that means? What do you guys think? What do you think? What do you think? Emily.
It means when like you start a project.
Yeah, when you start a project, how can you begin with the end in mind?
I'm just gonna do it like this because it creates an echo.
Okay.
So it means like when you start a project, begin with knowing that you're going to finish it.
Yeah, good. Good. Anybody else want to add to that? Good job, Emily. Kenzie?
Like for like if you consider your whole life, the end would be like what you want for your whole entire life. So everything you do like every day would be towards the goal, like your end.
Good. Have you read the chapter yet?
I read the beginning, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because he talks about that a lot. And that's a big one. I remember the first time I read this book, that was one of the biggest things that I took out of it is like, you know, we talk about goal setting a lot. And in martial arts, everyone has their goal of black belt and beyond, right? So that's your end. That's your end goal. Your goal is master's belt or whatever your goal is in martial arts. Everyone at least has the goal of black belt. So that's beginning with your end in mind. You start training with the goal of black belt. But a lot of times we don't take that to other areas of our lives, but this is something we should be doing everywhere. So as a parent, as a friend, as a daughter or a son, as a sister, everything that we're doing, we should be thinking about what our end goal is, right? In life and the way that we live our lives, the way that we treat other people, the things that we do. Absolutely. Anyone else want to add to that? That was good, Kenzie.
Mrs. Billiard, Nicole. I was thinking also you have all these goals in your life, and you have to think every step of the way, will this get me closer to my goal, or is this going to get me further from my goal? All those steps you take along the way.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely. So we have this end goal, like black belt is a good example of this, right? You start martial arts as a white belt, your end goal is black belt. Now it's summer break, or it's virtual training time. It's time for your virtual karate class. And you're like, I really don't feel like doing virtual karate. So I think I'm going to skip a couple classes. Well, that might be in tune with whatever your goal is that day, but that's not thinking about the end, right? That's not beginning with the end in mind. And that doesn't just mean the first step you take, but every step you take after that. So what you decide to do this week, how is that going to affect your goal of black belt, or your academic goals, or your character goals, things like that. Very good, Miss Nicole. Rylan, you want to add to that? What do you think begin with the end in mind means?
Set a goal and follow through with it.
Yeah, when you set a goal, follow through with it. Very good. Anyone else? Those are some good ones, guys. Siri's talking to me. Okay, Maz?
When you have started a goal, before you start a goal, you have to think, how am I going to finish it?
Good, very good. That's why when we set big goals, we set like stepping stones or smaller goals to help us achieve that. Very good. And we create habits to help us achieve that. Okay, so begin with the end in mind is to start with a clear understanding of your destination. So just like we talked about, whenever you start something new, you need to understand what the goal is, why you are doing this, what the end is going to be. All right. To know where you are going so that you can better understand where you are now, and so that the steps you take are always in the right direction. So this was kind of just mentioned, but if you know what your end goal is, it helps you evaluate where you are right now. And then throughout that entire path, that entire journey of achieving that goal, you can always look at it and say, okay, well, am I on track with doing this or whatever with my end goal? And you can kind of base the decisions on that end goal. That's why goal setting is so important, because it gives you direction every day. And things like creating healthy habits. A lot of times people create healthy habits of exercise or eating healthy or drinking water or bettering their minds through reading things like this, doing these match hats, stuff like this, because of a goal of black belt. But this is helping you so much more than just wearing a black belt, right? This is something that everyone should be doing. But the biggest reason why all of you guys, why I am motivated to do this kind of stuff, is because you have that end goal, right? Okay, so it helps you determine what's really important and why you're doing what you're doing. And that's something we talked about that in the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself too. I remember there was a chapter where it was kind of about like self-reflection, like just every once in a while you have to look at everything that with a like, I'm not muted right now. Okay, so looking at everything with kind of a clean slate and saying, why am I doing this? Is this in tune with my goal? Is this going to help me achieve my goal? Or is this maybe stopping me from being successful or achieving the goals that I want to achieve? Good. Okay. Anything else you guys want to ask or share about begin with the end in mind? Okay. All right. Who has their goal set of black belts or beyond second degree black belt or third degree? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you want to be a black belt, if that's your goal.
Excuse me.
Good. Okay. So now what I want you guys to do is think about every day, the actions that you're taking, the steps that you're taking, are those in tune with you becoming a black belt, with that end goal? All right. So this is what Kinsey was referring to. And this is a pretty powerful exercise. Okay. What I want you to do, he actually lays it out pretty well if you read the book, but imagine you're at a funeral service, you're at a memorial service, but it's your own service. Okay. Now at this service, you have people from all different areas of your life there. You have family members there. You have maybe friends from school. For adults, you have coworkers or you have your boss. If you're really involved with your church, maybe you have some members of your church there. All people from different areas of your life there. And I want you to think about what they would say about you at your funeral service. So I'm actually going to have you guys do a little exercise with this because it's really important to genuinely sit down and think about this. So I want everyone to write down a little chart like this. Area of activity, character, contribution, and achievements. And then write down the different areas of your life. So everybody go ahead and you can either take a picture of this or write down a chart on a piece of paper right now. Go ahead and write it down because we're going to discuss this tomorrow. I want you guys to kind of take some time tonight to work on this. But so, you know, if you think that your family members would say, oh, she's selfish, she is cranky, she's doesn't share with me, she things like that, then maybe you need to make some changes there, right? This is kind of a really good mirror exercise where it's your reflection of yourself. This isn't what people are actually saying, it's what you think people are saying, which means this is how successful you feel like you are in these areas of your life. So everybody make sure you've written this down or take a picture of it, because this is the homework assignment I want you guys to work on tonight, and everyone who does it will get a star tomorrow, but we are going to talk about this quite a bit tomorrow. So write down the roles in your life. Maybe it's, you know, family, friends. For a lot of you guys, it would be school instead of work. And then it could be church. It could be karate. Karate would be a good one to put there. Your community in karate, because in martial arts, a lot of what we do is with our community, with our karate family and serving other people and things like that. And in all of these areas, what you're kind of doing, if you were looking at karate and for character, you're like, you know, I'm people would say that I'm very, maybe this, you put one of your instructors would be the person talking about you here. They would say, I have a lot of focus. I have a lot of self-discipline, that I'm constantly getting better, that I'm on track to black belt. But if you start to catch yourself saying, realizing like, you know, I think my instructors would say I don't try very hard or I don't practice, then you need to look at that area of your life and maybe create some new habits, set some new goals, that kind of thing. So for contributions, for family, this could be like chores you do. For friends, this could be always being there when I need somebody to talk to or things like that, anything like that. So raise your hand if you've got this chart written down and you're ready to work on it for your homework. You've got it written down or you've got a picture. Okay, if you don't, go do it. We're not moving on until everyone has it written down or has it taken a picture of it. Kalia, do you have it written down? Okay, so then raise your hands. All right. Okie dokie, we're gonna move on. So this is a big one though. I want you guys really to think about this. It's a really good exercise. Okie doke. Let's go on to the next thing he talks about in here is all things are created twice. So basically with that, there's the step of like being inspired and designing something and then implementing it, right? So just like setting a goal for black belt is you being motivated, inspired, and deciding you want to achieve that goal and coming up with a plan of how you're going to do it. But then there's the actual step of implementing it, of doing it. He talks about like building a house in here. What do you guys think would happen if someone tried to build a house without the blueprints? If you had a carpenter go out there and they started building this house and they had no plan whatsoever, they were just like, I'm just maybe gonna put a wall here and maybe put a window here. What do you think is gonna happen, Hannah? You still there? You're muted. Okay, what do you guys think is gonna happen, Skylar?
It's about the chart.
You just froze, Skylar. I can't hear you. I'll go back to the chart in a minute though, if you need to see it again. All right, what do you guys think would happen if someone tried building a house and they had no plan, no guidelines? Beatrice.
The house wouldn't come out as well. Also, like the foundation wouldn't be as like strong as it would need to be because they're just building it as they go, not as like a set to a plan.
Yeah, there's so many things that go into building a house. They have to make sure that it's its architecture is stable, right? That it can support a roof, that it can hold the windows, that it's balanced, that it's going to be able to sustain winds, that it has a good foundation. So all of those things, you know, you might forget a step if you're going through it without any kind of blueprint or plan. There's a quote that he talks about, a carpenter's quote that said, I think I put it on here. No, wait, was it on the last one? It said, I can't move this box of participants. What is it? Oh, I didn't write it on here, I guess. But it's you always like plan twice and cut once is what it said. Or something along those lines. Plan twice and cut once. So
Measure twice.
What was that?
It's measure twice, cut once.
Measure twice. Thank you. Measure twice, cut once. Why is that such an important thing to think about that? Measure twice, so you cut once. What does that mean? Why is that important? I think that's Sloan. Go ahead, Sloan.
It's because you can always subtract. You can't add to, if you're cutting it, you can't add to what you're cutting.
Yeah, if I was gonna cut this piece of paper right here and I say, okay, I think that's about 5 inches. I need exactly 5 inches. I think that's about 5 inches, and I cut it and then I measure it and it's wrong. I made a mistake and it's gonna be hard to go back and fix it. But if I measure it and I say, okay, I think it's 5 inches, and I double check it and I make sure I'm right, and then I don't have to cut one time. I don't have to do it again. Now, a piece of paper is a little bit different of an example, but there are some times where double checking your work is really, could you imagine if surgeons didn't double check everything they do if they weren't absolutely sure before they cut? That's a big deal, right? So measure, thank you, Nicole, measure twice, cut once. All right. Okay. So, becoming your own first creator. This is another section of this chapter. In this part, he talks about imagination. So we use imagination to visualize the uncreated worlds of potential that lie within us. So to come up with the goals and the plans and the dreams and the drive that we want. And then we use our conscious to come in contact with universal laws or principles, with our own singular talents and avenues of contribution, and with the personal guidelines within which we can most effectively develop them. So I know that's a lot, but basically saying we use our imagination to come up with this big goal, this big dream, but then we use our conscious to come up with the plans and the realistic how we're going to do it. And then when you add, someone's not muted right now. Let me do that. All righty. Okay. Skip the page. All right. So when you add self-awareness to that, that's when you're empowered to write your own script. And so what he means by write your own script is create your own life, create your own future, create your own plan and what you're going to do, what you're going to achieve. Okay, I'm going to save this one for tomorrow, actually. So I'm going to go back. I think Jaden had a question about this chart. This is what the big homework assignment I want you guys to work on for tonight is writing this out, what the areas of your life and what people would say about you at your own funeral. And maybe talk to some of your family members about it, and have your parents do it too. It's a really good exercise for everybody to do. Okay, so I want you guys to work on this tonight, and then we will discuss it tomorrow. Does anyone have any questions about what begin with the end in mind means?
I have a question about the chart.
Okay,
if
go ahead.
I saw the chart now, then it would take a bit too long. You guys would already be moved on once I'm not done.
Right, we're talking about it tomorrow. So you have tonight to work on this chart, and we're going to review it tomorrow. Okay. All right, any other questions about the chart? Or about what your homework is? No? All right, Destiny. Go ahead, Destiny. What's your question?
Well, if your family and school, well, I'm homeschooled, so my family is my school. So what would I write for work and school?
You can do, so this chart, you guys can do this however you want to. So you guys do not have to have these areas. It does not have to be family, friends, work, church, or community service. You guys can change this to however you want. A lot of you guys don't have work, but you would have school there. A lot of you guys can add in karate here. So you can choose. If your family, you can put family/school, or you could put them separately and see what people would say about you, what your mom would say about you school-wise and what she would say about you family-wise, or however you want to do it. This is for your own benefit. So you guys can choose the area of activity. You guys can choose whatever you want to put there. Okay. Any other questions about this homework?
One more.
Yes.
Can me and my mom go back here and then on the mat chat part, and then can we take a picture for it?
Yeah, so this video will be on YouTube, so you could go to YouTube to see it, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. You're welcome. You know what? I will post a picture of this chart in the Facebook group too, so that you guys have it, okay? All right. Well, we're going to finish talking about this. I feel like this begin with the end in mind does have two parts. So we're going to talk about the second part tomorrow. And we're going to talk about your guys' charts. So make sure you spend a couple minutes doing this. If you go ahead and do it right now, it'll take you 3 minutes. Just spend a couple minutes filling this out and be ready to share tomorrow, okay? All right. Well, I will stay on for a minute if anyone has any questions. Otherwise, it's good to see everybody, and I cannot wait to see you guys in class this week. Bye, guys.
Hey,
Bye,
Bye.
Rachel, want to stay on? We could chat for a couple minutes. How are you feeling?
Hold on, please.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.